I'm going to share the exact strategy. I'm literally going to share and walk you through exactly what we implement, the secret funnel that we've used to take offers from 0 to 90K in 30 days, close 30K in 3 days, everything that we've used to generate over 7 and 8 figures in sales. This is going to be a great one.
Over the last 8 months, you've generated 7 figures of revenue for your clients. And right now you're booking calls for $10 a pop, generating LTV across the different industries from 30 to 45K. So I would love to hear your breakdown of what's the secret sauce.
Yeah, so the secret sauce. So I'll start with this, right? The reason why we're getting such good results is because our funnel is frictionless up until the point that people book in. Like we have on our funnel, which I can run through in a moment, I can share my screen. There's no VSL. There's not really a headline. It's just a would you be interested in XYZ kind of quiz funnel using kind of the build out that Perspective has, which is been really cool and very quick. Whenever I see our ads and I click on it, it loads in a second, which obviously is very helpful. But there is no friction. So our funnel completion rate from someone clicking on our ads to get into the post booking page, which is also being qualified as well, so they don't just go through unqualified leads, it's about 12 to 14% of leads who click on the funnel go all the way to the post booking page. And then from there, like the way that we do it is that after that, that's when the sales process starts. Because one of the things that we saw when we were running ads for, we started off in kind of running with coaches and, make money online people. We transitioned into agencies more so nowadays and consultants. But one of the things that we saw is that if we ran a VSL funnel, lots of people simply wouldn't finish A, the VSL, or B, the actual funnel itself. And it became our biggest bottleneck. So over time, we just started removing elements. Like first off, we removed the headline and then the funnel completion rate went up. Then we removed the VSL. The funnel completion rate went up. Then we removed like the banner and the funnel completion rate went up. Now we have basically what looks like a bare bones web page where you're like, what am I looking at here? And I think it's just human intrigue is just like, all right, let me click. This is different. This is new. Click. I guess I'd spend this much if it got me this ROAS. Okay, cool. Yes, I'd be interested in that. Okay, yeah, I'll get a custom plan. Boom. And yeah, we use some best practices as well to kind of like sell the show, sell the call as well. So rather than just dropping people the call to action, like book a call, strategy session here, we use some conditional logic from the questions that we've asked earlier to kind of frame the call for the solution that they're looking for. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. And it's so different than most of the funnels that I'm hearing people build. So Jacob, talk to me about what's left on your main page. Like what do people see entering your funnel?
Honestly, that's about it. We have kind of like two main variations, and one of them is like if we have a really unique mechanism to the market, like we have a client who's teaching car salespeople to stop being car salespeople and essentially become like a remote closer for a dealership, right? Because that's a very unique mechanism. You can't really just do the bog standard, like just qualifying questions because people don't really understand what they're clicking for, right? So on that funnel, we have, a headline, we have a call out, kind of all best practices, but all VSL stuff happens after the booking because then we've got people at their most bought in phase. They've taken the most action at that point. They are then kind of like, then you have our philosophy or my philosophy is you've got anywhere from 12 to 72 hours to sell that person. Like if you are getting onto sales calls and explaining your offer and explaining your case studies and trying to communicate your value, you've done something wrong. So regardless of us not having a VSL, people come to our calls saying like, yeah, let's just do it. So our call times and our sales cycles are like half as long as they used to be when we ran VSL funnels as well. So no opt-ins, we don't collect any leads, we just go straight to the calendar.
Super interesting. Let me break down to you what I hear you saying here. It seems like you're basically, and the key here seems to be that you have a different, unique mechanism. And maybe some of our viewers as well, like they came to a point where something that they offer to the market is so unique that they're probably over engineering what they're putting on the front end instead of already going for commitment because the market fit, like the product or service market fit, is already high enough that you can actually make that ask up front.
Yeah.
And then the trick that seems to be the case why you've been able to get such amazing conversion rates is because after you get that commitment, that's where nurturing starts.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I look at it as kind of like back to front, right? Because when we think as an advertiser, right, like you have linear thinking. It's like, okay, I'll run an ad, they'll see my VSL and then they'll click. But then the question is like, if your VSL is bad, do they click? Probably not. If your call out doesn't fit them, do they click? Probably not. So you have this kind of like one size fits all funnel. And then you go then into market sophistication, where you've got like pockets of your market who have seen this particular VSL funnel or opt-in or lead magnet, blah, blah, blah. They've got 500 lead magnets in their email list already. And they're like, you know what? I don't really care for this. They just want to take quick actions and get to the outcome, right? And, you know, we like to sell to rich people, right? Because rich people they're always easy to work with. But the thing is with rich people, they don't want to sit down and watch 25-minute VSLs as soon as they've seen an ad. Like, why do they care? Why do you, as an advertiser, think they care that much?
Right.
Like, do you have time to watch a 25-minute VSL? When's the last time you've done that? Even an 8-minute VSL, do you not just like click to the end to see what they're talking about, or go into a random part and see if it's interesting to you? Probably, right? Yep. So rather than doing that, we just go ahead and get people through a quiz, get them kind of selling themselves through the quiz process, and then we go ahead and, you know, do the conversion after that.
But it seems to me that you're speaking to the segment of the market like in the way that they want to be spoken to. Because obviously, if you were like a beginner, you need the VSL, you need the whole body. And if you don't have experience and you're trying to be sold to because you're like opting in for some like low ticket coaching offer because you're just starting out, obviously it will be different. But for your case, though, it seems to be very relevant. And maybe there are people who are already experienced enough that they can go up market. Maybe they already have like people listening to us in the audience that they already have a good service and they might be over engineering that instead of going for a funnel that meets the prospect. It seems like your funnel is different where to basically how the market runs it. So,
and I'll mention this as well, if it's all right, before we move on.
Yes, go ahead.
I think the reason we get such good results is because we build offers that we call them top of funnel offers. All it really is we take any client that we work with, and I want to clarify, this can work for any business, literally any business. We ask the client, what is the number one problem their clients want solved in their first 7 days? What's the biggest result you've ever got for them? And how can you break your process down to make it sound so simple a baby could do it? So for us, it's we'll build your ads, we'll build your funnels, we'll run your ads, and you only pay us per appointment, right? Very simple process. Then we take the biggest result you've generated for a client with this mechanism. So for us, that's 90K revenue in 45 days for a client, and they only spent 1,500. Put that as a headline and static, put the process and then the risk reversal, and then it's like click below to find out more. So we call that a top of funnel offer, because rather than it being like, we guarantee you XYZ in XYZ amount of time, we still do that, but we use what we call a value ladder, right? So why do people want ads? Because they want funnel clicks. Why do people want funnel clicks? Because they want opt-ins. Why do people want opt-ins? Because they want leads. Why do people want leads? Because they want calls. Why do people want calls? They want shows. And then shows, they want closes, right? So we skip all the bottom stuff and just promise them the top offer that we can, if that makes sense. And because we offer a bigger offer, we bring in the people, you know, if we were to promise people 20K a month in the next whatever amount of time, we only get people who are below 20K a month. But if we promise 100K a month, we get anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, maybe even 100K that will click through on that offer because it's resonant to them. Does that make sense?
I'll try to break it down and you tell me what part I'm still missing. But
okay,
you're basically promising a higher offer than you normally would. So like you're going, hey, we'll generate you 100K.
Yeah.
But the buy-in that they need to do, like the upfront cost for them, isn't that high because you're doing you're vertically integrating into the entire process. So once they're bought in, then you're rewiring their scripts. They're basically rebuilding all of that so that they get to that point where they're actually able to generate these kinds of results. Would that be a fair breakdown?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way that we look at it is there's in any funnel or sales call, there should be 3 offers, right? There's the offer you put on ads, the offer that you sell on a call, right? Because if you sell 100K in 90 days and someone spends 4K a month on ads, you can't get them 100K in 90 days. It just doesn't, the metrics don't work. So then the top funnel offer brings them in. They're like, damn, I want that. Then they get to the call, and then we'll go through the pre-call process in a moment. But they get to the call, they're like, I know, like, trust these guys. I want to do business with them. And then you break the bad news in a good way. You say, hey man, I don't think you qualify to do 100K in the next 90 days, but here's what we'll do instead. Let's set you up your first winning funnel, get you your first few clients and cases and testimonials, get you a 4x ROAS, so we know we can get you to 100K. To be there, we need to be spending anywhere from like 20 to 30K a month on your ads just to make sure we can get that sort of result for you. But in order to get there, let's set you up so we can get there. Does that sound fair? They say, yeah, of course. Okay, great. The investment is XYZ. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. So you're selling them on the bigger offer, and then you're downselling them because they're not really qualified for the bigger offer, but they can get there if they succeed on the first one, which is the smaller one.
Exactly. I mean, that's where it becomes consulting, right? Rather than just like closing, rather than just saying like, I'm going to guarantee you this, guarantee you that. And then what I've tend to find is that, you know, people who work with us go like, Jacob, thank you so much for helping me with this thing, because we set the right expectations. I think, you know, when we first started, we made the mistake of just promising the world every single time we had a new client. And then we would just be in a bit of trouble by the time we got to delivery, because we were like, yeah, we're going to scale you to $1 million a month. And they spend 20K a month on ads. And it's like, ooh, I'm not a magician, but we can try, you know? So it becomes like more of a consultative close. And for me, you know, we're a sales and marketing agency at heart, right? We run ads and we do sales, right? But sales to me is just a transfer of like certainty, right? That's all it is. It's like, I know I can help you. You know, you need the help. Let me transfer that certainty, and then let's make that deal happen, right? And when you do that consultative approach where you look at what they've got, you look at where they're at, and you say, hey, this is not the first step. We need to do this first. People go, okay, that makes sense. And you get people bought in on the logic, and then people want to do business with you because you're not sounding like an idiot or a scammer saying like, I'm going to make you $1 million in the next 45 minutes or else I'll give you your money back.
I think what you're saying here is, first of all, extremely valuable for people that still haven't found their offer market fit in a sense.
Yeah.
Because basically what you're saying here is, like, for every business that you could consult, like, not all of them will be even qualified for the kind of offer, for the kind of results that you would want to sell them on, obviously, right? Because some businesses won't. But even of those that would have the capacity to get there, most of them aren't at that stage where they're able to like make that leap. Like they need to take it in smaller steps. So look, that's brilliant. Like you're giving a masterclass in building offers here. And funnily enough, you're probably following, but it seems like that looks obviously, you know, probably about the Hormozi's new book launch.
Of course.
Basically, it looks like you're kind of giving away the sauce before he launches the book, which is super cool because it's kind of the similar structure, right?
Yeah, yes. It was actually so funny when I saw the book launch and it was about a money model. I was like, because I thought it was going to be $100 million sales because he's been kind of like teasing that. Then he gave us a bait and switch, and I was like, this guy knows what he's doing. And then I started reading into it, and I was like, wait a second, this is kind of like exactly what we do. Now, here's the thing, right? Because a lot of people will underestimate what will happen to the market in the next 3 to 9 months, right? Where everybody will start implementing these money models, and everyone's now got the lead gen capacity because he dropped the course, and everyone's got the offers dialed the same. And that's where, for me, the difference becomes, how are you able to translate and communicate your product? Because the only way you can scale an offer, is to sell to people who don't know you. If I wanted to start a lawn mowing business, I only sold to people on my street, then it's not a very big lawn mowing business. I've got to be able to go everywhere, right?
Yes.
So, and then this is the other part when it comes to the funnels, right? As the market swings this way, not that you want to just ignore what's happening, because obviously it works for a reason, but you kind of want to swing the other way, right? If everyone's doing webinars, you want to do a VSL funnel. If everyone's doing book funnels, you want to do a webinar. If everyone's doing, you get what I'm saying. So it's just one of those ones where I think it's really interesting with the book launch and with everything Hormozi does. I think people implement so much of it, and it's so interesting because people do it amazingly well. There's a segment of the market do it incredibly well, and there's going to be millionaires created when he drops this book. That's what Hormozi's reach is like. But there's also like a massive segment of the market who won't do it with the right context. To this day, I see people promoting $100 million offers when Hormozi said himself he didn't even have guarantees in most of the offers that he used to run. Like Gym Launch never had a guarantee, for example. But it's interesting because when I saw that, I was like, damn, Hormozi, you had to do me like that? Okay.
Yeah. But then look, like if you discovered that before he even started talking about this, and that was kind of the secret sauce that he didn't want to give away, or that's the way he's positioning it. Like there will always be something that will be able to compete on, right? Because most people are just like looking at it and are just going to follow whatever the industry leader is doing. But most likely what you've done, or however you got to that process, and we'll get there right after. I want to talk to you about the actual pre-qual process, but I would like to go later on into how you actually got to the point where you discovered all of these things. Because if you discovered all of these things, most likely you'll also have something they'll bring with you when the book is launched and when everybody starts spinning out the same offer sequences as Uncle Hormozi brought up. But
Uncle Hormozi, I like that.
about 100%. Like, and I see it everywhere. Like, look at lead magnets. Look at all the giveaway posts with like GPT generated PDFs that are swarmed all across LinkedIn. Like, we all see the same things, right? Like, we all see the super cheap or like free lead magnets, and like the market just got so commoditized in like the info product space or online marketing space that same thing will happen with his offers. So, in order, so that we don't lose the right thread. Before we jump off the actual offer, talk to me about what happens after someone books that call with you. What are they going through? What's your secret sauce to 30% conversion rates and 70% show up rates?
Amazing. And this is where I can really start to drop some gems, man. Okay.
Let's go.
Ooh. So, by the way, I want to shout out a couple people before I say anything here. I want to shout out Jeremy Haynes. Jeremy Haynes is like an incredible marketer. You've got to lock in with Jeremy Haynes, man. Like a lot
Should
of
we
what
have
we've
on the podcast.
If you can get Jeremy Haynes on the podcast, I will be an incredibly happy man to watch that video. He has multiple $1 million clients, so I'd love to see that, honestly. But yeah, so, we're taking some stuff from him, some stuff taken from Breakthrough Advertising, some stuff taken from, my background was I used to do high ticket sales, right? And I'm not going to lie, I don't think I was the best closer in the world, for complete transparency. But there was one thing I noticed with every single lead that bought easily. And this was the difference between why closers love working for coaching businesses and closers hate working for agencies, right? And that is their intent. Whenever you have a stranger decide they want to book a call with you, you've got to understand that they're somewhere on an intent scale from, I don't know, I guess I'll check this thing out, to like, God damn, take my money now, right? But as marketers and advertisers, what I tend to see, which is, I think honestly it's kind of lazy, is that people will send a reminder email and an SMS, and then people will show up to the call, or they won't show up to the call, and then they'll sit there like, what? That's so unfair. I spent this money advertising and you booked a call with me. You don't want to show up. Gosh. So we have these like selfish marketers who don't do anything to sell their prospects before they turn up, right? So we flip it on its head, right? So there's like 3 main things that we implement for our clients that literally changes the game, and we implemented it for ourselves. And again, it's been ridiculous, the results that we've got from as a result of that. So first off is what we call a high volume email sequence, right? Where we send anywhere from 12 to 14 emails that are like generally so good they could be lead magnets, if that makes sense. We break it down into kind of 3 things that we talk about, right? Or three objectives that we have. A is to frame the person on the opportunity or the mechanism, right? Because what you will find, and this is harder the more unique your mechanism is, right? The more unique what you're selling is, the less people understand what they're buying or what they're getting on the call for. And if people don't understand, they're not going to show up. That's just basic logic, right? If someone's booked a call, but it's like in their email, it says like your extortionism upside down AI backwards appointment setting companion call, and they're like, right, skip. Yes. So we essentially we want to frame people so they understand what's actually being spoken about and what we're kind of be getting into, right? And I will say this as well. I hope this is a gem for anyone watching. If you think people know, you've got it twisted. There is no way people know as much about your offer as you do. We onboarded an advertising agency today, right? They work in e-com. They're an e-commerce agency, and these guys are crushing it, man. They went from 5K to 17K, and they got started with us on a scale from there, right? They didn't really understand what a breakdown of an offer should look like, if that makes sense, even though they've scaled their business to that level. And you would think sometimes, and I think this is a very easy kind of fallacy to fall into, that, oh, people will just know. No, they don't. They don't just know. You have to inform them. So we want to frame them. We want to frame them on what we're going to be talking about so they know to turn up, right? And then I'll add this little bullet point. When you do that, when you can, as you say, communicate value or frame or problem better, faster, or more eloquently than someone else can, you automatically become the authority, right? So you've already got intrinsic trust from that person. So that's A, we frame them. B, obviously case studies, man. Case study. Like, we're thinking about investing in a program to scale our agency now. When we booked the call with them, I got 2 emails, right? And one of them was, you just booked your call, and the other one was just before the call. It was like, here's some case study stuff, right? And I watched the case, I looked at them, and it was nice and everything, but I was just sitting there like, man, I've been waiting for this call for 3 days, and I'm excited because I know about the guy. You know, I've went through the warm marketing process, right? But I was just thinking, like, you're running ads. If I didn't know about you, there is zero way I'm turning up. There's zero way. Like, you can, and here's the thing where people kind of get it twisted. If you don't have like case studies, for example, that you want to just like, you know, we haven't, I'll be honest, we've done a really bad job of getting video testimonials from our clients. We've been in the trenches just delivering, so it doesn't even cross my mind sometimes. Right. But just break down their founder story. X came to us with this problem. They went through this. They tried this, that, and the other. But what they realized is this one little mechanism switch is going to be X, Y, Z. And you know what we do as well? We use open loops to sell the next email. In the next email, I'm going to break down exactly what changed for that person. So then you are using the case studies to sell the framing emails, and it becomes this kind of like whole ecosystem, which is amazing. So second is case studies. Just put case studies in there, man. Literally, just there. You will lose nothing if you go into your go high level email sequence now, add 4 emails and add 4 case studies. You lose nothing. No one's gonna be upset with you, you know? So that's
tell me more about them. For case studies, what kind of case studies work best for yourself? What's been your experience?
Honestly, okay, I'm not gonna say anything because case studies still have to be like, what you want case studies who are going to be specific and resonate with the lead who's booked with you. Now, obviously, if you are kind of across different markets and XYZ, it's kind of hard to do that. But for us, it's B2B coaches and agencies, right? So we talk about us as the agency case study, and we talk about B2B coaches as B2B coaches. So I wouldn't, if you did 6 years ago, some sales consulting for an international shipping company, I wouldn't put that in as a case study. But even if you just have, for example, satisfaction case study where someone said, I'm so happy I did business with you because XYZ, use it, man. It's just whatever you can to build that know, like, trust before you get to a call, because, you know, you just don't want people turning up and being like, hey, can you tell me about your experience? Hey, can you tell me about your case study? Hey, who's this work for? You can kind of backwards, you know, fix these things. And a quick note for the high volume email sequence. For us, we get anywhere from a 60 to 80% open rate on our pre-call, which means it's literally free. It's free real estate. It's free real estate. Yeah. You have absolute freedom to frame this person, and 6 out of your 10 emails will be open. Like, what are you doing? Not sending more information, you know? So you got framing, you got cases, and the last one I'll cover, because there's some other stuff we throw in, but we can get onto that in a moment, is belief shifting. Now, one of the things you'll realize when you sell a high ticket program or high ticket product or agency services of any sort, where the ticket price is over $2,000, most businesses below 10 million make emotional decisions. They don't make logical decisions. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to sell to Coca-Cola, they're going to want to know every single metric. And, you know, you're going to have buyers who are higher on the skepticism scale who want to know all of the different metrics. Yeah, great. However, a solid 90% of your leads just want to feel good about the decision they're making. You know, they literally just want to feel good. They want to feel like, this guy gets me. This guy cares about me. Oh man, he's been there, done this. I can trust this person. Please, let's do business, right? The last email that we send over is purely belief shifting. So these are stuff like, if you are coming to the call with this belief, this belief, this belief, here is what you need to change. We have seen these 3 consistent factors to clients who go from 0 to X, whatever it be, 3X ROAS or 45%, whatever. I don't know what your metric could be that you sell it, right? But we've seen these consistent traits. Turn up with this. It's the best way we can get the best out of our call. Another belief shifting one that we use that is really good is we send one which is like, hey, this is not a sales call. This is just an opportunity to get to know you and actually dig into your business. How often do you really get to talk about what you love, right? So then we've shifted the frame on the call to be like, hey man, I'm getting to talk about what I love, man. I'm going to tell the world about this, you know? So again, people love that. And, you know, I think the hardest thing, especially as a closer, I've been there, when I've taken a sales call and I've done discovery perfectly. I've done a little bit of reframing early in the call. I've done this, that, and the other, and everything's gone amazing. And I get to the close and they say, oh gosh, that's just a lot of money, isn't it? And it's like, yeah, I understand, but like, this is where you're at right now. This is what you need to do. And then the person I'm talking to does 15K a month and the ticket price is $3,000, right? And they're saying, that's a lot of money, man. It's like, I haven't done enough to challenge your mindset, you know? When we build sales teams, we have like an internal tracking that we do for our team. Is like, how much of a therapist have you been to your leads on these calls, right? Because People forget that high ticket sales, people get so selfish. Like, oh, I want to just close this person. I'm going to get a close today. I'm going to get my commission. No, you're going to help someone go from where they're at to where they want to be. And we tell our salespeople, if that's not with us, just give them some free game, man. They'll come back around. Just tell them what they need to know. They'll come back to us because they know, like, and trust you, right? But if you can help, if they can pay, and if they have a problem, we can help and they can pay, we should be doing business. That's the way that we look at it. So in order to get people to do business, we need to shift their beliefs on doing business, because people will come in with, I was burned by this agency, coaching programs don't work, this isn't for me, I've never made this work before, I've failed before, I've this, I've that, I've the other. And what you're really doing in a 1 hour phone call is you're fighting 5, 6, 7 years of trauma to try and get someone to go and do business with you, which is, again, if you don't do this pre-call, you're just setting yourself up for a world of pain. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I would say one thing that really surprised me by is the threshold at which that's still relevant for business owners. So we're talking that basically up until like 8 figures a year, people are still being very emotional with their decisions. And that's really amazing to hear from you.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
I would say one thing that I would like to dive deeper into, because that's something that I've got the feeling throughout our entire podcast so far, and you're such a master in sales. And I really want to dig deeper into the exact sales strategies that you're using, because you've been dropping gems all along. We've been covering this as a marketing call because obviously we're doing perspective talks and we're primarily marketers here.
Mm-hmm.
But every single marketer, especially ones that are running their own agencies, like, you need to close clients in order to have clients one way or another. And especially if you're signing higher ticket clients, which is the case for most agencies, most of you aren't selling productized services, fully productized, that are just like paying up front. There you go, right? And then like just doing one piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I need to talk to the person, transfer that belief, as Formosi would say, right? Transfer belief over a bridge of trust. So tell me more about that transfer of belief. Like, what's the backbone? What's the core of your sales strategy?
The core of my sales strategy is enjoy yourself.
Damn.
It's just it.
Let's operationalize it.
Okay, all right, okay. So operationalize it. Cool. Let's break down. But I've got to say this because I think people listen. There is a million sales videos on the internet, and if you want to find a really good one, look at my business partner, Reese Motown. We've got a breakdown of our decision tree. So I'll give you this little side
link in the description.
Link in the description. We don't use like a dot sales script. We use what we call a decision tree, which has like if then statements. So I ask this question, hey, have you looked into something like this? And they say yes, then there's a script for that. And they say no, there's a script for that. Okay, why haven't you done this? Say, oh, I'm scared. So we have different like, and it sounds like it's very confusing. It's really not. I just have it on my phone on Canva here and just scroll through it when I'm talking to people. But that's a side note, right? If you want to talk about sales scripts, that's another thing. But I'll talk about sales fundamentals. People forget the beauty of sales. What you are doing is you are taking another individual who has never known, liked, trusted you before, most of the time, if you're an agency especially, right? Unless you are Kai Bax, Serge Guattari, and people know about you. They don't know about you. Maybe they've seen your ads, maybe they've just clicked it because they're interested. And you have the opportunity to not close them, to help improve the quality of their life. People get it so backwards. Like, every single thing we do is built off of value. Now, not just the hormones, let's give away value so we can make more money. It's literally like, hey, my goal from this conversation we're doing here, and from sales calls that we take, from the email sequence, the pre-call assets that we can get into, I just want to make your life better as a result of interacting with me. As if I can do that, if I can make this 1 hour conversation make your life better, then I'm a happy man. And I won't talk about sales, but I'll talk about some higher level sales stuff that really helps in being a salesperson. The reason that helps is because of momentum. One of the things that really hurts closers and business owners is I'll take 3 calls and won't close anybody. Now, that is a really bad way to look at sales. The best way to look at it is like, I've taken 3 calls with people I couldn't quite get over the line, but I know I've helped them a little bit, right? One of the things that we teach our closers to do, and we do, is if we know we can't help someone, we'll tell them, hey man, thanks for booking this call. I'm really grateful we've had the opportunity to support, but I don't think this is the right fit for now. We might give them a little strategy on how to become a good fit. It's like, hey, you need to work on this. Once you've done that, come back to us. And as a quick side note, when I was closing, I remember doing this for a lead for a mortgage broker offer I was closing for, right? And it was like 3 months earlier, I said to the guy, hey, you need to do these things because I can't help you right now. They were in too small an area. They had too little ad budget. It wasn't a good fit. They went and made those changes, came back. We didn't even do a call. They sent me a text because all my leads I text them personally. Send me a text like, "Hey Jacob, can you send me the payment link?" It's like, okay, talk to me, man. What's the difference? He goes, "We did this, do this." I was like, okay, cool. Send the payment link. Cool. So a lot of people get it so twisted with sales where it's like, I'm trying to close this person. I'm going to manipulate you into us answering these questions in a certain way to get you. Nope. Just help the person enjoy yourself. I enjoy myself on sales calls, and that's why I close at a really high rate, because I never feel sales pressure. I've never been on a call and been like, what do I say now? Like sometimes, in fact, on a call earlier today, I literally said to the guy, like, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure what to say right now. It's like, everyone laughed, everyone's having a good time. It's like, but look, man, let me tell you this. I'm committed to getting you results. If you're committed to get results, let's do this thing. And then we close the guy, So you just got to enjoy yourself. There's no script that replaces genuine conviction and enjoyment.
I would say because that's definitely going to be useful for people in a situation similar like yours, right? Mm-hmm. And there are certainly people that are, because I would believe that you're at this like last stage of competence, right? You're unconsciously competent. You just like know because the thing they're offering is so valuable. You've tested it enough times. Yeah. You have a backbone of experience for years and years, probably. So like you kind of know what you're doing at this stage. I would say, to make it a little bit more general to people here, like what we can learn from this for everybody at every stage is like, if you're really confident in the thing that you're selling, then it really becomes a play, because what you're essentially doing is being like, hey, I know how it works, I know how I can help you, and you're just like giving away this value because you exactly know how you can help someone. And some of these people will simply convert, and by this way they've structured it offers, by the way they've structured marketing campaigns and funnels, which we'll go into in a little bit, you're basically able to come to the call and just cut off the coupon because you've done all of the work up front.
Yeah. And okay, so I'll say this for someone who's just starting their agency or coaching business. You have to acquire delusional confidence, whether that's in yourself or in your offer. You have to acquire, every entrepreneur I've ever met has something slightly wrong. You don't turn down a job at the local bank to go chase your dreams and build an online business or an agency unless you got a slight screw loose in your brain. Because let's be real, it's not the safe path, it's not the tried and tested path. We might think we're in our little bubble where the whole world exists here, but we're not. We are one of like 10,000 people every time. You, Leon, are a very rare individual. I'm a very rare individual. If you're watching this, you're yes. a very rare individual, right? So in order to do and people, what they'll try and do is they'll try and sell before they've acquired confidence. So if you haven't got results and you don't know what you're selling, first off, the best sales strategy that I've ever used in this process, right, is say, hey man, let me get you in and deliver something for you in the next 24 days. If you're happy with it, then we can talk about payment. You will then get actually time in the trenches to do the thing. You will learn what you don't know, man. One of the greatest things about our agency is our feedback loops, right? Because we optimize and we do stuff so quick, right? We learn if something does or doesn't work 10 times quicker than probably most of our competitors do, right? Because just outsource to a Filipino or someone in South Africa or wherever who's going to be the media buyer, and then if it works, oh great, and if it doesn't, we don't. We are in the trenches. We acquire data, we go quick, we move aggressively, right? So you can acquire that same insight simply by working for free for 21 days. Call 3 businesses today. Say, hey man, I have this thing I want to sell to people. Can I do it for you for free? If you don't like it, you don't have to take it. But if you like it, maybe you can tell someone about it. Go do it. Learn what you know. Learn what you don't know. And you will go into the next call after that so much clearer. You cannot get confident in sales without having reps in what you are selling. You know what I mean? And there's no way to fast track that. I can't give you a sales script that's going to do that. And that would be bad of me to try and give you some high level sales script to just help you close people when you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Learn,
I think what you're saying here, that's actually uplifting for everybody who's thinking about business long term. I assume that our audience is more on the longer term play, and let's just build an amazing product, let's just build an amazing service because we want to build a good business, not necessarily on the side, let's make money in the next 90 days or else, right? We're not hustlers here. I don't assume that's the case for our audience. So I think it's uplifting, because what we'll go into right now, what I would love to talk to you about a little bit more, is what it took for you to actually get to that place, that in the last 8 months you've generated 7 figures in revenue for your clients, and obviously for yourself you have the experience as a high ticket closer. So talk to me more about your sales career or your career in marketing. Hey, it's Leon here. Thanks for hanging with us. If you want to create mobile-first, interactive, and personalized lead gen sales funnels with market-leading conversion rates in just 30 minutes, we want to give you something special. Because you're listening to today's episode, instead of standard 2 weeks, you can get Perspective free of charge for a full 30 days. Link to set up your account is in the description below.
It's funny, right? Because if I was to just break down everything, this is where I expose myself as I'm not the expert, but that's the truth. I'm no crazy individual, but I'll tell you this much, right? When I was 18, I started doing like real estate, and I was doing like wholesaling, they call it in the US, but deal sourcing, you call it in the UK.
Right.
And back then I ran my first ever ad campaign, and I spent like $300 or £300 it would have been. And I closed someone for $3K for like a consulting thing. And back, I didn't know that was the play to keep doing that. I was just some young, dumb kid. I didn't know about the online business space. I was just doing it because I was like, I can't work a 9 to 5. I'm so special or whatever. Right. And that was my first experience with sales and marketing. In fact, my first ever sales call, I remember I got on the call and I found the guy on the phone. I was like, hey man, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have a sales script. And I was speaking to him. He was like, what do you do? So oh no, tell me about it. And then he hung up on me. And I actually retired. Basically, at that point, I was like, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not cut out for this thing. This ain't for me. I'm not who I thought I was, right? And yeah, fast forward, it's been through, it's been a lot of ups and downs, man. I'm not going to sit here and just act like I'm some authority who's just went at it and just won every time. I built a startup, raised a bunch of money for that, and then that's a whole conversation. My IP wasn't protected properly, and let's just say that someone else. Yeah. Anyway, then I went into some sales. I did sales for some years. Did door-to-door sales, did high-ticket sales. The time where I really decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur was I went to Jamaica, and I did some consulting for my uncle because he was like a big consulting fan, but I consulted him on sales. For some reason, he thought I was a sales genius or something. I was not. I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
Google's my best friend at that point. But funnily enough, actually, the guy who we were doing the consulting with was one of the original engineers at OpenAI way back in the day. So,
no way.
Yeah, really interesting. A dude from Canada. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. But I'll talk about this year, right? For me, it was just a case of like, I'm sick of trying. I'm going to do it. It was just a mindset switch. I'd went through these years of acquiring all this information and knowledge, and just kind of, I had this Google Drive of all this information, all these, I can bring out my business model books where I'd written down 1 million different business models. And I was just like, you know what, let me just do it. And, I'm a man of God. I'm going to put it on a podcast. It is what it is. I had a baby on the way. I was living in a new country. All this stuff happened, and I was like, what do I do? Prayed and prayed and prayed about it. And then just so happened that I got the best opportunity that I could have ever got at that stage of life. And it was growth operating for a very big personal brand online. We crushed it with him. We did 30K in 3 days when we first launched for him.
Damn.
Which was bonkers. And it was just at that point where I was like, yeah, I can do this thing. And since then, it's just been a constant work. And I got to give thanks to God, thanks to my lovely partner who supported me during the process. And, I thank my hard work as well, because my story is not different for anyone else's. I decided I was going to do it, failed for a long time, finally got lucky, and then now I'm here. But the difference is that I stuck with it for long enough that now, we're crushing it. So yeah, man, that's about it for me.
Let me tell you how I see your story, because what you shared here, like up until I asked you this question, like all you've been doing this call is just dropping gems, operationalized. It's actually like, it is like what you're saying is the kind of knowledge, is the kind of value that somebody who just listens to this podcast at every single minute, at every single point, things that you were saying, like somebody can just take and operationalize into their business, and maybe they will improve it by tiny bit. Maybe that'll be a brick in their wall, right? That they need to build up so that they can climb on it, and then see how the world really looks like to really build a business out of that. But look, like for 7 years, like you, as you said, like you've been constantly failing and failing and failing. You've been acquiring this knowledge, and probably you had some smaller successes, as you said, like in the beginning, you've had like 3K clients, never amounted to anything bigger. But that was the point at which, like, it wasn't like you would be able to have done it 7 years ago, right? Like you just didn't have the backbone for all the knowledge that you have. And I really appreciate you coming into the podcast. I really appreciate you just sharing all of that. And the original trigger for us was in our school community, in Growth Elite on school. You just shared like a full complete breakdown. I was like, hey, this is what we're doing to get like 70% show up rates and 30% conversion rates. And then you actually laid out the entire thing. It wasn't another funnel that we're going to drive you through. You weren't like asking, hey, people rate my funnel. Hey, how's it going? You're like, hey, this is what's been working for us. This is exactly what you can do if you want to do it the way I do it. And it's working for me. And now, as you're saying, like, these are the results that we've generating. And like, it's been 8 months since we've been crushing and we've been delivering results. Like, we got this, as you said, like 30K in 3 days. I think it's a super strong opener for this podcast. You generated 30K in 3 days for a big personal brand in the US after failing for 7 years, as you admitted, or after learning for 7 years. But right now, what you're giving, like, I have a bunch of notes here, and like the things that you said to me is like, look, if you're at the stage where you actually have acquired that knowledge, where you have like productized your offering and really what you can give to the world, the way you're building your funnel, and we'll go into your funnel right after the entire breakdown, but basically you get like 12 to 14% conversion rates, and you're building your funnel differently than anybody else's funnel if you look into it. As you're saying, like, you're starting and removing the headline, removing the VSL, going straight through a qualification, because you're dealing with people that are higher up market because you have the experience. And so then you're getting them to opt in, right? Then you're getting them to schedule a call, after which you're blasting them with a high value sequence. You said 12 to 14 emails. 3 key points that I listed in there is like, you need to frame the person right, because you're obviously going to be speaking to them. And probably that's one of the reasons why we're getting such a high show up rate. Then you have a lot of case studies. So you're basically bringing to the word, like, why are you the qualified person to talk about all of this? And then you're shifting their beliefs, or rather, you're saying belief shifting. What I heard you saying when you're talking about like how you would prepare people to call into the call is you're basically addressing all the objections up front, to the point that you're like, hey, these are the things that people are coming with. And if you think about it from this angle, you're likely to get these kinds of results that we got for other people, or you're likely to achieve this outcome. And that goes beyond the offer itself, that goes beyond these sales, that goes into, hey, if you just implement these beliefs, you can do it on your own. Doesn't matter if you buy the coaching from us or not. And for the offer itself, you've already structured something that works, because you're asking for a lowish enough commitment, like you're asking for lower 4 figures upfront to get a person to a point that they're able to go after the big revenue numbers.
I will say this: we are, if anyone's watching this, and hopefully maybe you've caught us at a good time, but we are probably going to like triple our price pretty soon, because our the results we've been getting have been ridiculous. And you know, I have Jeremy Haynes talks about this thing. I don't know if you use expletives on this podcast, so I'll avoid it, but he calls it the effing me scale, right?
All right.
And it's like, when you first buy a product, or if I was to buy a $2,500 product from you, until you've delivered me something, you're screwing me, bro. You've taken my money, I've got nothing. So it's my job as an agency or coach or whatever you are, to flip that scale quickly. So we're at the point now where even the start price that we're charging is like ridiculously low for what we're delivering for people. So it's going to be interesting. Click down below before it goes too high.
Absolutely. By the time we release you, not sure if that offer will be relevant anymore. So guys, if you want to check Jacob out, check it out in the description below.
Gotta move quick, man. Gotta move quick.
If you're saying it's going to be launching in the next couple of weeks, we don't know exactly when the podcast is launching. So
no, it won't be weeks. It won't be weeks. It'll be a little while, but
Well, that's fair. But you're getting super high conversion rates. So that's like if you want to go after the people who are maybe already ready to go after the big results that you can deliver, right? Because you're getting the initial offer, so that you get to like weed out the people who are really ready to go the mile. If people who are ready to go the mile are watching this podcast and they're already ready to invest upfront a bigger commitment because they want to go to that 7 figures or whatever you can generate for them, I think it's only ethical to raise your prices in a sense, because you're delivering an amazing result.
That's the way I look. It's only ethical.
But man, look, it's been a value masterclass, and like, we're trying to frame it as like not Uncle Hormozy, you're not just like throwing away value, but essentially what you're doing here is like, you're coming to an audience that's listening to this podcast, obviously, and you're saying like, here are the tactics that are working for my agency. They're working super well. Here are the funnels that I've built, and they're working as well. So man, if you wanted to make it even higher value, would you mind sharing any of your
funnels? Of course. I was waiting for you to ask.
Any of your slides. Absolutely.
Let's do on those cooking programs, like, here's what I made earlier. Like, let's do it.
Just waiting for the trigger. Very good.
Okay. So I'm going to give a little bit of context before we get into everything, right? The first thing is, as an extension of the pre-course process that we have a bunch of other pre-core assets that we help, because we like to help people with their research. If you are selling something to someone who's really looking for a solution, they will do their research either with or without you. We like to aid them because, hey, I don't even have a Trustpilot. So if they look for me on Trustpilot, they ain't going to find much, So
Right.
everything we do is built to, build kind of momentum, intent, etc. So this is our funnel, right? As I said, it's pretty backwards in a way. No kind of big CTA or headline or whatever. But we essentially make everything around our offer, right? As the saying goes, to sell a horse, you need to tell people there's a horse for sale. So that's kind of what you'll see that throughout this funnel. We just can completely repeat the value proposition over and over again. So we got two tests. We have one which is a 90-day test, and then one which is like an end of the week test. We've found recently that actually either a shorter time frame or a longer time frame is converting better. So this, like, are you interested in having XYZ by the end of the week, converts better. And then we have another offer which is like, this is only accessible until the end of 2025. Those two are working better than a 90-day offer, but it's just a little side note. So that's cool. And then they come to this page, which is what's your weekly appointment goal, where we find out what they want. And then very simple, we just ask them, imagine it's 45 days from now, you 4x your investment, you have an automated predictable scalable client acquisition to make this reality, how much we blah, 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 blah. We ask them how much they could spend to get started, right? Very simple. That is everything on the front end of our funnel, right? Now, we do have like pre-core. We could get into so much stuff, right? We have pre-core stuff that we do, like we'll call every lead. If they're unqualified, we'll cancel, just because, we have a very low friction funnel, and sometimes we get slightly crappier leads come through, but that's just a side note. But then we send people over to here with the conditional logic. Congrats, want to learn how to book whatever their goal is by the end of this week.
Yep.
Book your custom game plan here. Very straightforward, very simple. And then this here is where we're going to get into the actual magic. This is our pre-call system, the intro to the bottomless pit of framing, information, and value that we provide you with before you book a call with us. I challenge you, if you're watching this video, book a call with us and tell me you don't want to buy our product. But hey ho. So we do, if you want, again, conditional logic, here's what to do next. Step one, watch the video. Our VSL goes here. Not on the front of our funnel, because we only want high intent leads. We've already decided they want what we're selling to watch this, right? I don't know if there's like VSL tracking metrics on Perspective. I'd be interested to see if there were, but I would imagine it's going to be higher than if we were to put the VSL on the front end of the funnel. But that's a different conversation. Then we have some just best practices on the thank you page. Confirm your call, XYZ, and then we get into the magic, right? Now we have one video testimonial from a client, because I've done such a bad job at collecting testimonials, bunch of framing stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then we send people to this next asset here. And this is where I really want to get into stuff.
Just to close your loop on the open question of whether there's VSL tracking metrics, it's on our roadmap. So right now, consider building this out, because it would be an additional analytics that will be obviously useful for you guys.
Amazing. Yeah, great. This is our pre-call gamma document. Now, this is something that we build for every single client. And the reason for that is because we want to solve for consumption. When a lead comes from organic marketing, they have consumed an undisclosed amount of framing, information, and value from you. You have no idea how much they've watched your stuff, right? You have no idea how much they know. When someone comes from cold, they've had 72 hours. And you, Mr. Lazy Advertiser, send them 3 emails. Naughty. So we solve for consumption instead, right? So what we do in the consumption is we have, and this document continues to go and grow, but we'll walk through everything. So first off, we have a full overview of kind of like everything that we do. This will be a VSL very soon, but right now it's just a placeholder. We'll walk through some social proof case studies, blah, 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 some framing stuff. Here's the reality, the hidden reasons why you can't do X, Y, Z. Just a bunch of framing and information, like so much. I'm telling you, we could sell this Gamma document as a low ticket offer, man. I'm not even joking. Honestly, so we optimize a cold offer, blah, blah, blah. We build a high value, simple value proposition ad, interactive quiz qualification, frictionless calendar booking, post call sales. I says, oh, well, that's cool. Pre-call nurture sequence. The period between a booking and actual sales calls represents a critical opportunity. You can tell AI has been used here a little bit, but it's what it is. That most service businesses completely miss. This 12 to 72-hour window is your chance to compress months of relationship building into days. It's true. So high volume email
So you're
sequence, short
selling
form
them
video.
in this doc exactly on what you're doing to them. So you're kind of doing a meta
Everything.
play on them.
Everything. I don't even think of it as a meta. You're right. You are absolutely right, but it's not even a meta play. It's just giving away. You give away the source. You give away the source
Yeah.
and people pay for implementation. That's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interactive resource documents, which is this, and we'll come on to the mini webinar training in a moment. And then we have the decision tree, which I'll show you a bit of the decision tree as well in a sec. But just loads and we walk through the process, the timeline. We walk through some case studies. We walk through the implementation, what we give to them. We walk through our pay-per close incentives. Now, this, for clarity, is our top of funnel offer. A lot of people do not qualify for this, but we still have performance-based. We do pay-per appointment, so it is what it is. Who this is for, who this is not for. Now, this is just one of the pages that we have,
Right. Do you know by any means how much of that your prospects usually consume before actually coming to the call?
100%. So our prospects always consume our FAQs, and they always look at our decision tree for some reason. The rest of it is just us filling the gap between if they want to do more information or want to do more research or not. We use this asset in our ongoing email marketing, in our follow-up sequences, in our, we have our closers send this asset to people before the call. So we want to have it so value dense that if someone wanted to read everything, they just send us like, hey, where's the payment link? Let's just do this thing. We don't expect someone to read everything, but the more consumption we can get from people, the better. And actually, we have a client we've onboarded today he sets up financial systems for high net worth individuals. I'll say this much: the richer your prospects go, the more they read, because rich folks, they want to know what they're buying. They want to know if it's even worth the time to speak to you, right? So we've noticed, actually, the metric is this, right? When we ask on a sales call, have you watched our stuff? The people who say no don't close, obviously because they're not framed, A, and B, because most of the time they're not as good quality leads. We have yet to have a lead who has come in and consumed any number of our pre-call assets and is a good quality lead who hasn't closed. We haven't had someone who's consumed everything and hasn't closed. Do you know what I mean?
Amazing.
So that's that. Then we have the breakdown on how the process works. I like this page as well because it's just very straightforward. The 7-step process, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Have a master FAQ page where we just have a bunch of
also
FAQs.
For my own curiosity, you're using Gamma, the app. Do they give you the analytics similar to like Hotjar, where you're able to see like where specific people look into?
Not so much. It's not so sophisticated like that, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish it was, but
right.
The way that I look at this is it's just like having it, not having it is just a net loss regardless.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It's just, what it is, if you look at the intent spectrum, right? You have low intent leads who move up the intent spectrum. You're never going to have high intent leads who move down by looking at this. Do you know what I mean?
I love that you're sharing this document because basically all that we've been talking about on this call, like you're just confirming the value by showing to our audience like what we're putting into the actual doc. So like not only are you giving away all the secrets, you're also giving away the implementation that you have for yourself for the people that would want to steal it in any way from you, get inspired from how you built it. Basically you have it ready, you're showing exactly what you're putting into the FAQ. It's like as simple as spinning out something similar for yourself based on your specific experience for your specific niche. And man, I really love it. I really appreciate you giving us the exact file that I have, the exact assets that I have, because like I hope that someone who sees it in the same meta way that we're doing this will decide like, hey, this is actually something that I would like to work with. Maybe I don't have the capacity to implement it in-house.
Yeah.
Reach out to Jacob.
Well, I mean, most of the clients that we work with come to us for one of two reasons. A, they want to do what we do, but they don't know how. So even though they have all this access, even though they see this stuff, they don't know where to get started, right? So we just fast track that process. Or B, they don't know how, they don't have the time to do it. For most agency owners who are scaling right now, you are in the trenches doing client delivery. Or you're in the trenches hiring, or you're in the trenches training your team, or you're in the trenches trying to do sales. Like you don't have the time to build out these sorts of assets. So we just build it for you, but it's what it is.
All right, sweet.
And then the last thing I will cover before we move on to the next thing. Yeah. The last thing that I will cover before we move on to the next thing is a little bit of our decision tree. Now, this is what our sales decision tree looks like. This is actually like, we have a sales course that we give all our clients. They get access to like sales coaching. I'm more offer ads, etc. I do some sales stuff, obviously. But Reese, who is multi 7-figure closer, you need to get Reese on one of these podcasts. He's my business partners, multi 7-figure
All
closer.
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
He's the sales nut. You want a sales masterclass? Talk to Reese, boy.
I do want that. Yes, the audience hopefully too.
Amazing. So this is our decision tree. This is what we take people through, etc. Now, this is asset number 1. What if I told you? No, I'm not going to do some clickbait.
Okay, go for it. Go for
it. No, but there is another asset that we send. And although this is incredibly powerful, I think this next one actually changes the game even more for most people. And this is our pre-call free training webinar. Right.
Which you prompted for before in the doc is like, what are the different steps they need to do? It's like, hey, there's gonna be a webinar if you wanted to make it work best, and now you're sharing the actual webinar.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. And it's and I'll say this as well. We call it the end-to-end scaling system because it becomes this like self-encapsulated framing warm-up selling process, right? Where once you're in, it's like it's hard to get out because the email sends you to the Gamma Doc. The Gamma Doc sends you to the free training funnel. The free training funnel sends you to the Gamma Doc. The thank you page sends you to the emails. The email sends you to this. The closer will send you the Gamma Doc. The next one. So like the framing kind of becomes like this. It's really hard to escape the ecosystem, which is good because we have the intention to help our clients, right? If we were just looking to cash collections and just close a bunch of people and just take a bunch of money off people, this would be very unsavory business practices. But we are literally, our job is to help people grow, and we only make money if we do that. So, it is what it is. And I will say this as well, we have a personalized version of this that we send through trigger links, which will say, hey, Leon, your 100K a month game plan call is approaching at appointment day. So we have a personalized version of it as well, which people love. But this is essentially a 28-minute training video, which teaches people the whole system. Everything. Just
amazing.
So the vision and the kind of the goal with this is that, they say it takes 7 hours of consideration to buy a product, right? What you are lucky with, especially if you have an agency, is most of your top clients or most people who come to you will spend some amount of time considering a solution. But if they're at 4 hours and you're able to get 3 hours of consumption can be 1 hour of watching a video, 30 minutes of reading emails, for example, and then an hour and a half of just thinking about what you've told them. Your likelihood to convert that person is so exponentially higher than if you just send them appointment reminders. That's the thing I want to hammer home here. Like, it's ridiculous to not do this if you're aware that it exists. You know what I mean? And my question again is to you or to the audience. If you were going to buy a high ticket program and you were booked in for a sales call and you talked to agency A, B, C, D, who just, hey man, you call us at this time. Hey man, you call us at this time. Watch this VSL. Did you watch the VSL? Here's this Google document. Maybe if you're really lucky that and they care about you. If you compare and contrast that with a free training funnel which breaks down everything. Hey, go away and take it away and do it yourself if you want, but we're going to talk about how you implement it. A Gamma Doc that breaks down everything. High volume email sequences which frame you on the opportunity, shift your beliefs, provide you with case studies and clarity on who this works for. You add all that together with our closer calls you up as soon as you book in and before our call to say, hey man, by the way, I saw you booked in to speak to us. What is it that you were looking for? Build a little bit of relationship there. Conditional logic on the funnel, which makes the call to action on the booking page based on what they're actually looking for. You throw all that stuff together, I challenge you to not grow your business. End of.
Man, this is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I really, like, if you took away any of these tactics, I would say, shared throughout the entire call, please drop a comment below the description below. Let us know what was the one part that you took away from your business, because I hope there's a lot of doers in our audience, and if you took anything away, it'd be really lovely for us to know, like, what was the most valuable part that actually worked for your business. Because what we've given here away is like, hey, I got a bag of gold and here's a coin for you, here's a coin for you, here's a coin for you, and you can take like 5 of them if you want. So man, that's really amazing.
Yeah. You know what, audience, if you want me back for another episode, I'll break down more. No, but we can we definitely got more we can share here if that's something that people are interested in. But that on paper is kind of what we do. We went from not knowing what we're doing. We ran our first ad campaign, and I ran it from my personal savings, and didn't make very much money back, to test and iterate and test and iterate and test and iterate, and now we're here. And yeah, man, if you're interested in scaling your offer, you're interested in improving your close rate and your show rate, I'm not going to make any silly income claims like you're going to hit 500K a month in 45 seconds with us. I'm not going to say that. However, what I will say is this: your odds are a lot higher of that happening if you work with us. So
that's a brilliant way to end this call. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Jacob Watson. And if any of these things, if you'd like help with any of these things that we've just shared with you here, you'll be able to find Jacob in the description below. Just drop a hello, or join our School community where Jacob is also active and giving away all of that value for free. And basically, you'll be able to connect with this beautiful mind. Man, that was amazing. Like, I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, just thank you for you guys for doing what you're doing, man. You've built an incredible product, and I will say, obviously, all of our marketing efforts are funneled towards Perspective funnels. So hey, man, get a perspective, bro. Don't be lazy. Yeah, man. We're in this game together. We're in this game to win and change lives. So I hope that this helps somebody out there.
Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Watson. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching our podcast. If you got this far and found the episode valuable, join our School community, where we share insights about marketing, funnel building, and growing your business. Most of our guests are in the community and will be happy to answer your questions. Also, by joining, you get to choose who the future guests are going to be. Link to join is in the description down below.